And it's the same with sensuality, sexuality. And as monks, this is where we draw the line, but we don't go too far. But as I said, the monks, even they get into food as well. One of the things I noticed when I was a young monk, as soon as I gave up sex, I really got into food. Food was incredibly delicious. It's almost, if you give up one thing, you get another get up another thing. And I was very fascinated to see that actually when you go through puberty, that actually there comes a stage before that, actually the sexuality, where you really get into food also, as if I was going backwards in my development. You know, as a young man you get really into food, and then you get into the girls, and now I was going backwards, gave up the girls and going into food again, before you actually go back again to sort of not being involved in that at all. But even actually with food, I mean, it's delicious, it's nice, but obviously you can't eat too much, you get stomach aches, so you actually have to restrain yourself. So with all the sensuality we have, you know, it's almost like, has to be a voluntary restraint when we see the problems and difficulties which it might give us. And the mindfulness actually gives us a sense of more control. So those people who have addiction problems in this world, whether they're addicted to sex, addicted to pornography, or addicted to gambling, or addicted to having one partner after the other, sort of, if they realize it's a problem and they want sort of to try and restrict it, then the mindfulness practices helps them enormously. Of course, once they have to realize that it is a problem, and then how do we solve it? The mindfulness, awareness of what's happening in your mind, and get different responses so that we don't go through the same old habitual reactions. What mindfulness is just like you see there's 3 exit doors at the front of this hall and 2 at the side. What mindfulness is you see just more than one doorway, so you can go through other doorways. Because in life we're creatures of habit. We think we always have to do things exactly the same way. We literally go through the same doorway every time. It's habit. We don't even look to see if there's any alternative. So it's the same reaction. You know, you see the beautiful girl, the same reaction over and over again. What mindfulness does, you actually see other ways you can deal with this problem. Or, you know, well, it's not maybe a problem, it may be something you want to do, but you've got more alternatives. An addict has got no alternatives at all. They're in a rut, a habit which is so ingrained, they just go there and they cannot stop themselves. There are other alternatives all the time, but we need the mindfulness training to actually see that. So what mindfulness actually is actually when you come here on a Friday night, never sitting in the same place. I'm accepted here because I have to sit in this place. That's where the microphone is. But why is it that people always try and sit in the same place? Or they park the car in the same way, always eat the same food. When they go to work in the morning, they always go the same way, or they go back the same way. Become creatures of habit. When you become creatures of habit, that's called no mindfulness. And it's a wonderful thing to be able to change. And I would challenge you tomorrow morning, one of my first examples of training in mindfulness is when you wake up tomorrow morning and you brush your teeth. Which side of the mouth do you start brushing your teeth? The left or the right? Or in the middle? Above or below? Tomorrow morning, I challenge you, start somewhere else. Start a different part of the mouth every morning. Come on, live on the wild side. Now it's a very simple example, but it makes the point that, you know, we're habitual, we always start the same place. There's no reason to start at that place, but because we start at the same place, it's a creature of habit, we don't need to even think about or be aware of what we're doing, it just goes and does it without any mindfulness awareness at all. You literally are dulling your mind out and become a creature of habit. And it's the habits which cause the addictions, whether it's with gambling, with food, with sex, other sensuality, or say pornography.